Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Storytime with Rob. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I was trying to think about what day is it? These days just seem to run right into each other. It's Friday. Yes, it is. And you know what that means. It's Festive Fabulous Friday, Self Improvement Saturday, and to be honest with you, this is going to be more of a self improvement Saturday than a festive Friday, but I have some great stuff for you today. And quite honestly, the topic of my discussion, I've been thinking about it all week long, and I'm really excited to share with you. But the problem is, I would need probably 15 months to share this whole entire topic with you, and I'm going to try and cram this in just a few short minutes. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a story about a couple who had been married nearly 60 years. Now, this couple, ever since they were married, the wife, every day before her husband would come home from work, would bake a big, huge loaf of homemade bread. Now, I don't know if you can smell it or not because I can sense it right now. Can you imagine the smell of coming in from work and this fresh loaf of bread just coming out of the oven? The husband sits down on the couch looking through the newspaper, and this wonderful wife meticulously cuts the end off, puts it on a little plate, makes some of the best honey butter you've ever eaten. Can you see it? Can you smell it? I can almost taste it. The steam is rising from this end cut of bread as she slathers this honey butter on top of it. Brings it over to her husband, and he's like, "Oh, this is amazing. Thank you." And as he takes a bite, he pauses for a moment and he asks her, "You know, honey, we've been married nearly 60 years. I'm just curious, why is it that you always give me the end cut of the bread?" And she looked at him and said, "Oh, honey, same as me. The end cut, that's the best cut of a fresh baked loaf of bread, the end cut. There's nothing better than that." And he quietly looked at her and he said, "That's funny because I actually like the center cut better." I want you to process that for just a minute. For 60 years, this couple have been compromising in a weird way. She likes the end cut, he likes the center, and she was giving to him the end cut because she thought it was the best part of the loaf of bread, whereas he thought the middle was better. Communication. That's what I want to talk to you about today, and I think that we could all save ourselves a lot of time if we deal with this subject now rather than 60 years from now when we're eating a loaf of bread. So, communication is one of those things that I personally believe in my marriage is imperative. You cannot have a successful marriage without communicating well. So, communication is essential. So, don't assume that the other person understands what you're talking about. Just like the story of the bread, she assumed that because she liked the end cut, he was going to love the end cut just as much as she did. Not necessarily so. And also, men and women are also wired just a little bit differently. And I'm not getting into any of that because I'm no psychologist or anything of that nature. I just know that we are wired a little bit differently. So, this brings me to a subject. On one of my first anniversaries when we got married over 30 years ago, I remember a card, and we still have it in our scrapbook. And the card says this. It's a picture of me that I drew. I drew this card. I used to hand draw the card. It's a picture of me standing there with my hands out like this. And I think the caption said something like, college, finances, having a new marriage, starting a new family, work. All these things are great. And then when you open the card up, there's a picture of me and us driving into town, and there's a Wendy's and a Taco Bell and an Arby's and a Burger King and a KFC and all of these restaurants. And then the caption on the bottom says, "It's these difficult decisions that have me nervous." Is that not true? One of the biggest things that we always used to struggle with is when we traveled, especially um, now, actually, we used to travel into town. When you have kids, you go to the easiest place because it's like, oh, Little Caesar's Pizza. We'll buy 5 of those and a box of napkins and throw it in the back and let them devour it. Or we go to McDonald's and hit the playland so that they can exercise and get out of the car a little bit. But when you live in a small town like we do, you don't want to eat. Our options are limited here, and we eat at them quite often. So when we leave town, me personally, I want to eat somewhere new. I don't want to eat at the same place. So when we pull into this certain town, I always know when we're getting close to the on ramp, and I say, "Okay, your decision. Where are we eating?" She's like, "No, it's your decision where you want to eat." And it's kind of this weird gray area thing, and so we kind of got this thing down. So where we pull into the gas station, and she likes Subway sandwiches, and we have one here, which is great, but I don't want to eat there every time I leave town. So we get gas. While I'm getting gas, she goes in and gets a Subway sandwich, comes back out, and then we go to either Arby's or Panda Express or somewhere else. And there we eat together. And that's a compromise, but this can cause some serious contention amongst people. So communication is very important, and sometimes we need to compromise a little bit. So when we were dating, my wife and I took a marriage class. And I know some of you are going to laugh at this when I tell you this, but this is the actual file. I kept it in my records from our dating class. These are all the notes that we got in this class. Probably needs to be something that everybody must be mandatorily required to take this course before they get married, because it was very helpful. And you can see just by looking at some of these notes from 31 plus years ago, the differences between me and my wife. So here's mine. I've got maybe just a couple little tiny scratch notes, and most of them are drawings or pictures of something, I don't know, funny stuff while I'm listening. Here's my wife's. She's got outlines, things cross references, things underlined, notes on the back. That's just how we operate. She's very meticulous. I'm not so much. So one of the things that we learned a lot in this course was they gave us this changing our outlook survey, and ranking from 1 to 5 role comparisons. And it was interesting because we took this while we were dating, and we were pretty close, but some of the things we were like way over here and she was way over there. You rank them from 1 to 5. And so let me just give you a sample question. You rank it, and you each take your own test, and you don't let the other one see it, so then you compare when you're done. Strongly agree is 1. Number 5 is strongly disagree, and then everything in between. So, for example, the husband should help regularly with the dishes, 1 to 5. The wife should not be employed outside the home. Interesting question. The husband should have at least 1 night a week out to do what he wants to do. Or the wife should have 1 night out a week to do what she wants to do. Really interesting stuff. Fun stuff. Send me an email, I'll send you a copy. But here's what I wanted to get to last as I close with this. I want you to complete the following. Maybe sit down with your wife, or if you're not married, this is also very important, because you may have relationships with your kids, your family, your parents. This can apply just as well to that as anything in a marriage. So complete the following statement. Sit down together at a table, and I want you to complete the following statement. In our marriage slash relationship, I feel most loved when you blank. Now, guys, I'm talking to you now, not the girls, because the guys, you're going to have a hard time with some of these things more so, and you need to sit down and not just let the woman answer the question, but you got to sit down and answer these as well. Okay, this is your homework for the week, and I want to know how you did. So, I feel most loved when you blank. Okay? In our relationship, I feel happiest when. I feel happiest when. Okay? In our relationship, I feel most excited when. Now, with this whole communication thing, I'm not even getting into intimacy with. We're not going there. That's for another day. I feel most excited when. Okay? In our relationship, I feel close to you when. I feel close to you when. Again, guys, you got to answer this. She's got to answer it too. So, in our relationship, I feel most awkward when. Now, be honest. There are things that we do in relationships that are awkward, and sometimes we just kind of go, I don't want to deal with that, and we let it slide. Remember the loaf of bread. Okay. What I like most about myself is, now this could be the hardest one for all of you, including women, because people don't like to talk about themselves, especially in a positive way. Think about it. I feel what I like most about myself is, do it. Because this could be eye-opening for you guys, all right? And the last one, the best thing about our relationship is. The best thing about our relationship is. Well, I hope that you learned something today about communication. I hope to carry this conversation on again another time. I am out of time, and I hope you use some of these techniques in your life, your relationships, your marriage, whatever. Have a great week, and until tomorrow, be safe.